What's going on, y'all? So, people are still upset, calling for justice for Mark Breland because Deontay Wilder fired Mark Breland for him not doing what he told him to do. Well, I'm curious about the history of people being fired and no one having anything to say about it. Let's talk about it.
Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad.
Joshua did not want this fight. And he didn't want it for a reason. Because Deontay Wilder is the most fiercest puncher in boxing history.
So, people are upset about the face of boxing, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, firing Mark Breland, constantly calling into my channel every day saying, justice for Mark Breland. Because Mark Breland did something that Deontay Wilder told him not to do. So he got fired for it. And people want justice for Mark Breland. They're calling to me, telling me, oh, I can't believe a black man, Deontay Wilder, fired another black man in Mark Breland. This is crazy. I can't believe it. He says till this day and all this other stuff. Oh, he's a hypocrite. Blah, he fired a black man. Blah, blah, blah. So let's take a trip down history road and let's see how much y'all really gave a fuck about it. Y'all remember a guy named Kevin Rooney? Yeah, that was Iron Mike Tyson's trainer from the amateurs in 1982 all the way up until 1988 when he beat Spinks. He was undefeated, Kid Dynamite, destroying everybody. So fundamentally sound and such a power puncher and blah, 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 and all the skills to beat everybody, yada, yada, yada. Yep, Kevin Rooney got fired right after that fight. Got fired from bringing Mike Tyson up from nothing to 1988 beating Spinks. He got fired. 2 fights later, he fought James Buster Douglas and got knocked the fuck out. Let's keep going. Freddie the Joke Coach Roach. 16 years he was with Manny Pacquiao. 16 years. Got fired. He got fired right when Floyd Mayweather beat him. A couple fights later, fired. And Freddie Roach didn't even know he was fired. He found out like everybody else found out through the press. Manny didn't even call him, didn't even have the decency to call him and tell him you're fired. He fired him through a press conference. I don't see anybody saying justice for Freddie Roach. Don't see anybody saying justice for Kevin Rooney. Don't see it. Abel Sanchez. Abel Sanchez brought Golovkin up from absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing and nobody. Brought him from nothing and nobody. All the way up to one fight away from undisputed. One fight away. Abel Sanchez was able to wiggle his way around the bullshit that he was saying, wiggle his way around it. Oh, I'll beat, hey, guys, I'll beat anybody. 154, 168. And then you duck Laura at 54, and you duck Andre Ward at 68, and Fable Sanchez was able to wiggle his way around it and save you. Then all of a sudden, you sign a $100 million deal. You lose to Canelo, you sign a $100 million deal with DAZN, and then you fire Abel Sanchez. Can't make this shit up. Can't make it up. So Kevin Rooney got fired from taking Mike Tyson from nothing to undisputed champion. He got fired. Freddie Roach got fired for taking Manny Pacquiao to the biggest fight of his entire career. The biggest pay-per-view in the history of boxing against Floyd Mayweather. 8-division champion. But Freddie Roach gets fired. I don't see anybody saying justice for Freddie Roach. Golovkin. Fable Sanchez takes Golovkin from nothing to, the Kazakhstan killer. The Kazakhstan mauler. 27 straight, 54 straight middleweight championship defenses. 95 middleweight championship defenses, the greatest middleweight champion of all time, 1,000 middleweight champion defenses. They just make it whatever number they want. And Fable Sanchez was able to maneuver his way around it because Bum Lofkin can't talk for shit. Where's the justice for Fable Sanchez? Where's the justice? This is a now Mike Tyson fired a white man. So they'll say, oh, well, he just fired a white man. It's just a white man. A Filipino in Manny Pacquiao fired a white man. Oh, he just fired a white man. It was just a white man. Deontay Wilder fired a black man. He fired a brother. It's different. Okay, well, a white man in Bum Lofkin fired a brown man in Abel Sanchez. Oh, well, he's not black. So, no, it's all right. He's not black. I mean, it's not about race, BFTB. It's not about race. It's just justice for Mark Breland. Mark Breland brought Deontay Wilder from nothing and made him a champion. Oh, okay. Well, Ben Davison was fired by Tyson Fury after Tyson Fury got beat the fuck up by Otto Wallen. Ben Davison got fired. The same Ben Davison that brought Tyson Fury from 5,000 pounds all the way up to fighting Deontay Wilder to a draw, where he lost, but whatever. Whatever. On the records, it's a draw. Not sure how someone gets knocked down, damn near knocked out. Well, actually knocked out, knocked down twice, and knocked out and still, whatever. Anyways, Ben Davison brought this man from a rehab center, a cokehead rehab center, 5,000 pounds, brought this man back to the biggest heavyweight boxing match in decades. And then you fired him because of the Otterbox fight that you shouldn't have took in the first place. But you fired him. Where's the justice for Ben Davison? No? Want to talk about that? Okay, that's fine. No problem. Manny Robles was fired. Manny Robles was fired by Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz, who was robbed against Joseph Parker. Andy Ruiz, who signed with the PBC, who fought this big fucking ogre, beat him. He was Manny Robles was there. Andy Ruiz, who took the Anthony Joshua fight on short notice and beat him and made him quit. The first Mexican heavyweight champion in the history of boxing, Manny Robles was there. Because Andy Ruiz would not come to the gym because Andy Ruiz was riding high on his victory, was eating too much, blew up in weight, and did all this dumbass shit, wasn't training correctly, because Andy Ruiz did that, even though Manny Robles was everywhere telling him, we need to get to the gym, we need to get it right, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And then Andy Ruiz loses to Joshua in the rematch. Andy Ruiz fires Manny Robles. Where is the justice for Manny Robles? None. None at all. None. Y'all don't want to talk about it at all. That's A-OK. Okay, all right. So it's still Deontay Wilder. Oh, but Deontay Wilder fired a black man. It's just different. Fine. Maybe y'all don't know who Chris Okoye is. I do. That was Dillian White's career-long trainer right up until he got knocked the fuck out by Anthony Joshua. When Dillian White got knocked the fuck out by Anthony Joshua, he fired a black man. He fired his trainer in Chris Okoye. He fired him. And no one said a word. And he hired a white man, Mark Tibbs. No one said a word. So Mark Tibbs replaced the black man. It's not about race, BFTB. Oh, but Wilder fired a black man. Justice for Mark Breland. Dillian White fired a black man because he was knocked out by Anthony Joshua. Fired him. Fired Chris Okoye. Hired a white man, Mark Tibbs. Mark Tibbs stayed with Dillian White from Anthony Joshua all the way up until right before Povetkin. And then Dillian White fired him. Let's make sure we're clear now. Mark Tibbs signed on, was hired by Dillian White right after Anthony Joshua knocked Dillian White out. He went undefeated with Dillian White. Undefeated. Took Dillian White to the WBC mandatory #1, baby. Took him to the WBC mandatory in the interim championship fight. And then Dillian White fired him. And then right after he fired him, he got knocked the fuck out by Povetkin. Where is the justice for Mark Tibbs? Where is that? Because y'all don't care. That's why. You only care about Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder because he is the face of boxing. That's why. Whatever he does, whatever he says, that's all that matters. Because if you were consistent, then we'd have a different conversation. But you all are not. Your motherfuckers probably didn't even know about Chris Okoye or anybody else for that matter. All you care about is Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. And Deontay Wilder has even said that Mark Breland is still in his camp. Just won't be in his corner. But I guess y'all don't want to talk about that. It's okay, man. I understand. Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder is the face of boxing, and it's not even close. Keep calling into my show saying, justice for Mark Breland. You just make yourself look that fucking much more stupid. You just make Deontay Wilder that much more popular, that much more known, and it's that much more obvious that he is the face of boxing. BFTB. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And I'm up out of here.